One of these three things does not belong with the others. James O'Keefe, the United States Congress, and the FBI. Can you guess which one? If you guess the FBI, you're correct. Let's discuss why that's the case. Hello everyone, this is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. So, just get straight right to it. The reason why the FBI doesn't belong with James O'Keefe and United States Congress is for one reason. James O'Keefe and, to a degree, the United States Congress, they actually carry out investigations. James O'Keefe does some really good, journalistic. He's an investigative reporter, one of the best out there. In fact, one of the few that's left. It's not like when I was a kid, when you had reporters going behind the scenes or reporting from location, things like that. Now they're just more or less sitting behind a desk and repeating and regurgitating whatever the big pharma or the government tells them to do. So they're really not the press anymore. And you have Congress that has limited oversight responsibility, so they do some investigation up to a point. They can't really go too far with it because they just don't have the powers to do it, unless they have the DOJ and the FBI. Speaking of which, the FBI, that's what the I stands for, investigation, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And let's be honest, it's not investigating, at least not in a fair and balanced way, in a way where it's blind to politics. The FBI now, to me, the I stands for Inquisition, Inquisitor, which is a big difference. That's it sounds sort of like an investigator, but it's not. According to the dictionary, an inquisition is an investigation conducted with little regard for individual rights. That's spot on. So the FBI stand for the Federal Bureau of Inquisition, in my opinion. And there's so much evidence for that currently. The FBI and the press, they don't want to do any investigation whatsoever. James Comer, he's a congressman. He's heading up an investigation into the financial transaction of the Biden crime family. Yeah, they're a crime family at this point, like the mob. So they set up a bunch of LLCs in order to move money around. Joe Biden, has paid out, not him directly, but his brothers, his son, grandkids. They've opened up over 20 LLCs, limited liability corporations. Why? What are they selling? There are no receipts that they're willing to produce. There are no invoices showing they billed somebody for services rendered. There's nothing. It's just the LLCs. It's money coming from, so far we've seen Romania and China and Russia. James Comer said there's more coming because they've only been able to subpoena 4 banks. They got 8 more to go, and so far, the subpoena records they got from the 4 banks, they've seen about $10 million pass into the coffers of the Biden family. Now, the press is doing everything to ignore it. So far, ABC, CBS, and NBC has spent 0 time reporting what Comer has come up with so far. All they're saying is, well, it's not tied to Joe Biden, so who cares? So there's no, curiosity as to how Biden's grandkids got thousands of dollars that can be traced back to the Chinese. I guess they're experts in Chinese investments or something like that. Maybe like his 6-year-old granddaughter. The press, it's like before, all you had to do is give the press a little bit of information, and they would run with it and go investigate it themselves. You think they'd be embarrassed to watch Congress do all the work for them, and then when Congress says, well, here we go, we got a ton of info, we got bank records, which aren't going to lie. What do you think of that? They're like, man, you need to give me more than that. Can you bring Biden in with a confession of him saying, yes, I laundered money? Can you do that? And then maybe we'll print it. In other words, they need Congress to do everything for them. Same with the FBI. The FBI is not trying to investigate this. Check out this video with Ted Cruz and the head of the DOJ. And just listen out for a couple of cues that might let you know that they're not really interested in digging too deep into this story.
We've also seen across the country violent attacks to pregnancy centers by similar left-wing terrorist groups, including one graffiti of a firebomb building said, "Jane was here." There have been attacks all over the country. And yet, the Department of Justice has not brought these violent criminals to justice. You contrast that. If you're a violent criminal and you attack a crisis pregnancy center, that is not a priority in the Biden Department of Justice. Contrast that to Mark Houck, who's a pro-life activist. He's a sidewalk counselor. And he had an altercation with someone who allegedly interfered with his son's personal space and threatened his son, and he pushed him. Now, in an ordinary world, pushing someone would be maybe a simple misdemeanor assault, but not under the Biden Department of Justice. If you're a pro-life activist, what can you expect? Well, in this instance, according to Mr. Houck's wife, 24 agents clad in body armor and ballistic helmets and shields and a battering ram showed up at his house pointing rifles at his family. Why do you send 24 agents in body armor to arrest a sidewalk counselor who happens to be pro-life, but you don't devote resources to prosecute people who are violently firebombing crisis pregnancies?
It is a priority of the department to prosecute and investigate and find the people who are doing those firebombings. They are doing it at night and in secret. And we have found one group which we did prosecute.
Wait, did you catch that? Here, let me run it back just a second here. You need to catch that.
Department to prosecute and investigate and find the people who are doing those firebombings. They are doing it at night and in secret.
So you can thwart the FBI if you do something at night and in secret. That's gonna be a problem for them. So they need day crime. They need a department of night crime, since apparently the FBI under Merrick Garland can only investigate crimes if they're in broad daylight and if you're not wearing a mask. Oh, wow. Let me continue.
And we have found one group which we did prosecute.
You found one. How many have there been? How many attacks?
There have been a lot. And if you have any information specifically as to who those people are, we would be.
Okay, and that's another tell. Let's call it a tell. When Garland says, you know, hey, you in the Senate, if you can help hook a brother up and help me out, maybe, you know, between legislation and stuff like that, if you have the time, can you kind of help us get evidence to find these guys that only attack at night and wear masks? Because we've tried everything, man, and we're lost. So we need your help. You in the Senate, it's not your job to help out the FBI. Man, that's just unfreaking believable.
So, did you personally authorize 20 agents going to Mr. Houck's house? And he offered to turn himself in through counsel, but you didn't want that. The Department of Justice wanted to make a show of it. Did you personally authorize it? And do you want to apologize to Mrs. Houck and her 7 children for being terrorized?
The decisions about how to do that are made at the level of the FBI agents on scene.
Did you know about it?
I did not know about it until the way you're describing it. And my understanding is the FBI disagrees with that description. All
right. So there you go. That's Attorney General Garland, Merrick Garland, who says, don't commit crimes at night because, you know, the FBI can't do much about that. Don't wear a mask. And if, you know, we can't resolve a crime, we're going to go to the Senate and see if they can help us with evidence. Look, they're not even trying. This is there's a term. It's called anarcho tyranny. I'm going to do a separate video on that, but that's the form of government we got. We don't have a representative republic. We don't have a democracy. That ain't good either. But we don't even have that. We don't have a parliamentary form of government. What we have is a narco tyranny. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on that later on. I'll put that up. And I'll bring evidence and the description of anarcho tyranny, and I think you'll agree with me. So back to the Federal Bureau of Inquisition not wanting to do their job. Now, again, as you can see, they made every excuse not to investigate because if they like them, they like the group, they're going to turn their head. The FBI is going to just every excuse not to do anything. Now, if they don't like you, that's a whole different story. Check out, they've been going after this guy, George Santos, for 3 months. So they literally been just investigating him for 3 months, and look what they found. George Santos took unemployment for a year during COVID pandemic, despite having a $120,000 year job as at an investment firm. So apparently he's double dipping. Obviously he's a Republican. They've been going after him for 3 months, and the feds were able to crack down on dude in 3 months. Federal prosecutors allege Santos illegally received unemployment benefits while working at an investment firm. Santos faces 13 criminal counts, including wire fraud, money laundering. That's what I love. Money laundering. They've had so much evidence that Hunter Biden and like 90% of the home dude's family is all up in the money laundering. The FBI's been sitting on his evidence and refuses to look at it. But in 3 months, they're able to catch this guy who was basically double dipping. He was just getting money. Basically, it all stems from him getting, let's see, how much money? Let's see. I think it was about 24,000. Here it is. Santos certified his continued eligibility for unemployment benefits on a weekly basis from June 19th, 2020 to April 15th, 2021. Prosecutors allege in total he received $24,744 unemployment, according to court documents. So, I mean, that's a decent amount of money. And if he's guilty, sure, lock him up. But, I mean, what about Hunter? What about the Biden crime family? $24,000 in ill-gotten gains. That's nothing compared to how much has been wired from China and Russia and Romania to like a half cousin of the Biden clan family. They get way more than that. So it shows you that the FBI, if they want to get somebody, they can get them. No problem. Probably, you know what George Santos should have done? He should have worn a mask and just did all this wired funds at night. They would have never been caught. In the meantime, like I told you earlier, the FBI, the press has been saying, well, there's not enough evidence that Biden, Joe, the president, is involved in any of this stuff. Well, maybe that's because the FBI refuses to give Congress informant file alleging that Biden took bribes as vice president. So, in short, Congress has they've interviewed a whistleblower who has said that they have evidence that the FBI has been sitting on evidence that directly convicts Joe Biden of receiving pay-for-play funds. But they're sitting on it. They refuse to give up the information. They claim it's an ongoing trial or ongoing investigation. There's no trial. There's never going to be a trial. But they claim it's an ongoing investigation, so they can't give up any information because it might tamper with, it might tamper with the investigation. It's been going on for years, in fact. Again, note, George Santos, 3 months. 13 charges. You got the Bidens. They've had this information, from what I understand, and Hunter's laptop from at least 2019. 2018, nothing. And you know nothing's going to happen because we have a two-tiered judicial system. So, and that's how it goes. When you're a peon, you're screwed. When you're part of the political establishment, you are set for life. Again, my advice is if you're going to do crime, do it at night, wear a mask. You should be good. FBI never catch you. But that is it. Like I said, the FBI is now the Federal Bureau of Inquisition. Inquisitors, however you want it, but it ain't investigation. So that is my opinion. What's yours? Like, share, comment, and subscribe.